Hello everyone, this is my lesson on penguins, and we're going to be using chalk pastels. So that is anything that looks like this. So they're chalky and dusty. You've got oil pastels or you've got chalk pastels, so we're going to be using these. I just wanted to show you, I'm going to bring these to the class as well to show you. So this is some of my pastels. So I've got like a dish, like a pizza dish. It's like a what do you call them? You know, one of these that you put snacks in. I think they was like £1 each, and I bought them for my birthday party last year. So I've got some spare ones, so I use them just for my pastels, and I put them into colours. So just to show you my oil pastels, just to give you an idea, I have cool colours in my oil pastels, and I have warm colours. So I keep all my pastels kind of together. I don't know what makes most of them are, which is not helpful if you want to buy replacements, because you can buy individual pastels on their own as well as buying them in a box, and they don't always have the right shades. So these are my oil pastels, but my chalk pastels I've used them, but I also put them in separate boxes according to my colours. So I keep all my blues together, all my cool colours, and I've got here, these are some new ones here. So I've got all of my shades of pink and browns, as well as these are my used ones. These are all mixed up, these are different makes in these, and these orange colours. So that makes it easier for me to decide what colours that I want to use before I start a pastel painting, so I can get my colours out first. Some of these are hard pastels, some of these are soft pastels, so depending on what make they are, like these ones here, these are hard pastels. You can see that these are smaller, and when you use them they're actually harder, so they don't give off so much dust, and the soft ones are very soft and they give off lots of dust. So it all depends on the kind that you're going to use. So this is the picture that I chose to do for the lesson, because it was more than just one penguin, because it had both penguins and the baby. I thought it was a nice choice, so I did this on a piece of paper. So it's a coloured piece of paper. It's quite big, it's not going to fit in the whole screen, but okay. So it's quite a common photo. You can probably Google that photo and find that reference photo. I also wanted to show you some other penguins that I used from different reference photos, which were on their own, like single penguins, which I did in pastels. So this was just a quick one that I did. I also drew some out on brown paper, just to see what they come out like, and to practice drawing them before I started with my pastels. This is another one here, so I wanted to use a bit more colour on that one. This is a bigger one here. They're quite tall, these penguins. They're about 4 foot tall, I think. They're quite big. And look, this is a little chick, so I thought he was quite a good idea. So the chick is you know, is another part to it, which is quite good. So have a look at different reference photos and see what you can find, because there's lots of different photos of different penguins, different backgrounds. If you want to do like a flock of penguins, I think it's called a waddle of penguins, not a flock, but yeah, so that's quite a good idea. Okay, so that is our penguin picture, which I'm just going to move out of the way. It's a bit curly. Okay, so I've also got some brown paper. I've got loads of this, so I use this for lots of different things. I use it for planning out and for sketching, for drawing. You know, when you want to have a practice some techniques, it's quite good because it's coloured and it's not a plain white sheet, so it gives you a different background, which is nice to use if you want to use white chalks or white pastels. So we're going to do some different blending techniques with the pastels, just to show what your pastels can do. So I'm going to use these ones here to start with, because they're darker and I think they'll show up a bit better. So I think the blue ones will be a good idea. And we're going to look at some different blending techniques, and darker ones and lighter ones, like when you use them together, and the different effects that you can get. Let me just... The tint, tone and shade would be quite important as well, because your colours you will add white to tint it, you will add grey to tone it, and you will add black to shade it. So that will make a difference with how the colour comes out. So if we go to do tint, tone and shade now, I'm going to use this blue one here just to show you. So okay, so I'm going to do 3 boxes with the same colours so you can see the difference. So this is going to be tint, tone and shade with your pastels. Okay, so first of all we will tint it by adding white. Okay, so this one we're going to add white. It does make a difference what colour is on the top and what colour is on the bottom, as which way they can turn out. If you put white on the bottom and blue on the top, you get a different effect. So it's good to practice to see what effect you're going to get. So we're going to tint. Okay, so I'm going to tint this blue here. So I want to tint the top of this. You might want to do it for mountains, or you might want to use it for the ice. Okay, so that's the tint with the white. Okay, so let's get a grey. I think it's in my other box. There it is. Okay, so this one is a grey. Okay, so right, we're going to tone the blue in this one. So because this is quite dark, this is on the top, that's quite dark, that one. And black is shadow, so you really, for shadow, you really want a small bit, but I'm going to do shade, which is the black. Okay, so if we put the blue back over the top, let me put it over the top, so I'm going to put it back over the top of the shaded one. I'll blend this in so you can see. It's good to use the side of the pastels as well. As you can see by the dust's quite dark. Okay, and you tone on this one. Okay, so that's the difference with how they look, the tint, tone and shade. So that's with a blue pastel. Hello. Okay, so next I'm just going to show you a few techniques that you can use with pastels. So there's lots of different ways you can use pastels. So I'm just going to show you like an example. So I've just got this piece of brown paper here. So I'm hoping you can fit in this, see it. It's better. Okay. So you can use the edge of your pastels to create side strokes, and this is how I use them. So as soon as I get a pastel, I break it in half. So, or break it into smaller pieces, because I just find it easier to hold it in my hand and to be able to use it to get a sharp edge. If you need a sharp edge to do a line, so if you need to do a line here, you can use the sharp edge of the corner, which is really handy. And sometimes they can be quite bulky and they snap anyway, so I kind of snap them and make them smaller because they're easier. So okay, so side strokes is using the pastel on its side. Okay, so you use the most amount of space up with that. You can cover large areas by using side strokes, because whatever length your pastel is how much space you can fill in. So it depends on the paper you're using, and it depends on how, you know, which way you use it. But side strokes are always really good to use. Layering, so you can layer pastels with a cotton bud, or you can use a paper stump, or you can use your fingers. So I think blending, we'll do half blend with white, I think. Okay, so you can see straight away. So I always try to remember, I don't always do it when I'm doing a painting, but afterwards I always try to remember to clean the pastels. So you can use it with a paper towel, or you can use the trusted tea towel, which is what I do most of the time. So I just give it a wipe, just to keep them clean, because you can put it down, or especially next to a dark colour, put it down, pick it up, go to do a white line, and it's got black on it, or it's got blue on it, or it's got a colour that you don't want on it, and then you then got to worry about trying to get rid of it and to try and rub it off. So I do try and wipe it if I can. So so you can do blending with your finger, like you can blend it together. They do blend quite easily together anyway. You can use a paper stump as well. I'm just going to do blue as well. Okay, so I'm just going to use my finger. The only problem with little fingers is it's quite messy. Okay, but they're easy to blend. It's quite good fun. They're easy to blend. So layering, it's the same thing with layering. So if you want to make them darker or lighter, you would add more white or more dark, same as blending really. But this is like layering, is where you just add your colours straight over the top without the blending. So you're just adding colours to an area just directly on top of each other. So if I wanted to make that more pink, so add some orange to it. This kind of is an orange one. So we're not blending, we're layering colours together. Okay, and if you blend them, they'll go more like this. Dotting, so this is where you leave a gap in between your strokes. So it's kind of like, so you can do it. This is where the corner's good to use the, oh, yeah, to use the corner's really good. So if you wanted to put two different colours together in between the dots, it's quite difficult to see, I think, because of the shadows and the light. Okay, so you can still build up depth of colour just by dots, even though they're not blended together. You can still, let me just bring this down. Okay. So we've got cross hatching or feathering. So this is diagonal lines laying them in the same direction as the tip of your pastel. Okay, so you can blend this out or you can put them straight in. So I'm going to do it this way, so they all go in the same direction, so you don't crisscross, but you, this is feathering, so they're more like fur and hair and grasses. Okay, so that's like feathering. And scumbling. So I quite like scumbling. I think scumbling is similar to when you're scribbling with pencil techniques, but scumbling is just random lines and different weights, different pressures, and it gives you more of an interesting texture. Okay, so this is just, we'll do 3 different colours. So the light and the dark. And I think it just makes it interesting. It's interesting to fill space in that way. Okay, so there's a few techniques there you can use, which is really good. And also, I don't know if you know, but you can use pastels wet as well, which makes them darker. And it's good for covering large areas, but you can't use too much water. And you have to use it on heavyweight paper, so you'd have to use it on a thicker paper or card. But I'm going to show you with a brush. Oh, probably just crushed my board. Alright, okay, so where are we? I'm trying to make sure I don't cut you off. Okay, so this is a bit of water here, so it's just wetting the paper. So it has got pastel on the brush, and it makes it a lot darker, and the pigment, it grabs it a bit, but you can't do too much because the water is just brown paper. So, but if you look on my hand, look, it picks up quite a lot of pigment, the water. If you wanted to do a larger area, it's good to test it out. So I would always test it out. Don't do it on your actual painting, but maybe do it on a scrap piece of paper and see what effects you get. Let's do some white. Let's do some white. Oh, so the white can't really see, but I think if the area, let's rub that out, wet that bit, and then let's go back over it, and that's wet. Oh, so it's not showing up on there at all, but it's showing up on this bit here. So yeah, you can get some good techniques. It's worth a try. Don't use too much water, but just practice and see what effects you get, and see what you like. So it's good to try. So that's your techniques. Okay, so I know in your handout sheets you have some reference photos, so which you can choose your pictures from. I did a couple of these to show you. So I think I'm going to do, just to show for reference, I think I'll do this one here. I think I'll do this one, so it gives you an idea. So I'm going to just draw, it looks a bit fat here, but it's the angle of the picture. So I'm just going to draw it out. I'm going to have a little practice to see where the lines are and what I want it to look like. Okay, so This one I'll do over here. So we'll start here. So I'm going to start with its head. Okay, so just going to do a curved shape. I actually don't know if you can see that. You might be able to see that. If not, I might have to use a pen. I might have to use a marker pen. We'll see, we'll see. Right, okay, so I'm just going to do the top bit here. And then I'm going to come out for its nose. So its beak kind of comes out. I like to do work out little dots to work out where spaces are going to go. Okay, so here to here. It's probably about here, about that side. So, and then got the back of its head there, so I would say back of its head's probably about here. Okay, so, and look at this negative space in here, and look at that shape. So that blue shape behind it, not necessarily the beak, but look at the outline and the shape that's creating there. So it gives you an idea of how you want that shape to look. Okay, so this comes right round, but I'm just gonna do a rough shape. So this bit comes down. So that looks okay to me, roughly the water's roughly here. So his neck, diagonal with his beak, is in that direction right here. So I'm looking and I'm thinking, right, the back of his neck is in line with the end of his beak, so it's probably around here. Even though it doesn't look right on the paper, you can see that it's quite close there. So I'm just going to come around here. And then he's got this little bulb shape here. So I'm going to come round and create that shape. Comes down a little bit. And he's got that bit under there. Okay, so he comes in here, and then he comes out. It's quite fat, so I think comes up a bit further. So into the water, it's probably about that shape. Okay, so underneath his beak here, I'd say halfway, probably to about here, maybe here, and it comes off and it's there. Right, so let's come down. Okay, now this flipper probably comes out to about here. Okay, like that. Okay, so we've got a rough penguin shape. So now if you think he's a bit fat, I think it's a little bit too wide across here, so I think I might bring him in a little bit. I think that's a bit better. Okay, and then you've got the water around him. Okay, so to me that he looks a bit fat. I think this edge here maybe come down a bit more. I'm standing up, by the way. I don't normally stand up, but I'm standing up. Okay, so I think we will. Okay, let's rub this bit out just to get a shape. It's not very good, that rubber. Right. Okay, so that's a pretty good shape. Okay, so once you've got your shape and you know roughly what he's going to look like, then you can start to put him onto paper. So I think I'm going to do a bigger one, and I'm going to work out roughly. I'm going to put this to one side so I can see it. I'll keep the reference photo down here so you can see that. Okay, right, there's a bit of pink. Let's try and rub that off. That's good. Okay. So I'm going to do a taller one here. So let's put him in. I'm going to do him in white because I'm on grey paper. Okay, so let's see how he goes here. Okay. So I think he's back there. So let's come down to here. And I'll try and do them on swoop, I think, very lightly, but I'm going to come down to there. And put his wing in. Okay, and then I also forgot to put the horizon line in, so I'm going to do that. Let's put that in. Okay. Right. So I think what we'll do first of all is I'm going to block some of this in using the side of my pastel. Okay. So that's quite light there. Just going to come along here. Right. So that's our white pastel. Now I'm going to use black and orange. I'm not sure how bright that orange is, but I haven't used that one actually. No, that's the brightest orange I've got, so we'll have to look. This one's a bit dirty, so I'm going to wipe it. If I put that down now, I'm going to get like a green colour, because yellow and black makes green, so you're going to get green penguin fur, and you're not going to want green penguin fur, so it does really make a difference just cleaning them. And your hands get so dirty, you can't help but get them dirty, so just make sure they're nice and bright. Okay, so let's get some colouring in so we can see. I'm going to put his orange bit in his beak first. Okay. And this part in his head. It's quite wide, this bit there, actually. Okay. I'm going to put a little bit of orange in the top here. Oh, look at that. Look at how lovely and bright that is. Okay, so I'm just going to... Okay, so we've got black. I'm going to go round with black. So I'm just going to use the side strokes just to put some basic colours in, so it's not finished, and it looks really unfinished with one layer. And it takes a while to build up. You've always got that ugly stage where you don't like it and you hate it and you think, why did I choose to do this? It's not coming out how I want it to. I don't like it. But that's with every picture, you know. It takes a lot of layers to build things up, and sometimes it takes longer than you think, you know. But you just got to be patient. Okay, so flipper is here. So we've got a basic penguin shape. Okay, so I'm going to use some blue, because if you look in here, the reflection, he's actually quite blue. He's not got much black. This top bit in his head's black, but this part here is actually quite blue. So this is good layering. Okay, so it's just like little short strokes. So these blend as you're using them, there, because you've got the pastel underneath. They're kind of self-blending really, which is quite good. You don't have to smudge them in. If you do, you'll get a smoother look. And if you're using a tooth which is quite thick, the pastel dust will fill the tooth up of the paper. This has got no tooth really. It's a bit grippy, but not much. So there'll probably be quite a bit of dust. You don't want to be breathing the dust in, and you don't want to smudge it away either, because if you smudge it away, it will smudge your painting. So you don't want to do that. So you just want to tap it when you're finished. When you finish, like this picture here, I've got rolled up, so I just tap it when it's finished, and then get my pastels off that way, rather than trying to smudge it. Okay, so back to our penguin. It's quite blue there, so I've got that blue. Let's see what other blues I have got. So the darkest blue is actually the blue I was using. This is a harder pastel, which I'm going to try using this one, because it's quite a good pastel, this one. This is lighter, you can see. This would be good for the water. It's a different shade of blue, so I think I'll stick to this one. Put that one back. I'll stick to this one for now. Okay. So it's quite blue on that side. I think where this white is here, it's a bit too blue, but I want him to look 3D, and I want to be able to see the light. So I'm going to, now I can add some more black. So I know this edge here is quite dark, so I can it's quite fat this side, so I think I'm going to cut this in with some black and give him more black, less tummy. So I feel like I need to come down a little bit. More that shape. So it's quite dark here, so I'm going to make this side a little bit darker. More pure black. Okay. And this bit underneath his fin is quite dark as well, so it's got a section here. It's quite dark. this is like circling. Quite like doing circling, that's quite good because it kind of blends well. I had to turn that over because it's got quite dark now. Because I've been using black, it's now got quite dark. So I'm going to give it a white kitchen roll you can use as well. So look, you can see how bright this blue actually is now, look. So he's got a bit of a white, it's like a grey colour underneath his flipper here. So I'm going to put the white on first and try and blend it in a bit. So put a bit okay, so that's not bad for our first layer. He's quite grey at the bottom here, underneath here. He's not actually white. When you look at this bit, it's really white, the actual water. Compared with him, he's quite grey. So I'm just going to side strokes. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit of some grey somewhere. I think it's more, oh, here it is. Here's my grey. I've only got a little bit left. I think that's the only piece I've got. So the grey will be this colour. Okay, I don't know if you could see that. I think that was out of shot. Just over here. Okay, so I like to put on here a little key of all the colours I've used. Okay. Right, let's put some grey here. Now, a piece of bit of white this side, and it's quite bright here as well. Right, I'm going to add some water underneath. Now, the top layer of water here is white. There's a lot of white in there. You've got the background there, and you've also got the water around the movement, which it might be blue, but there's a lot of grey in it as well. So this piece underneath here, I'm going to add some this. Oh, just over a little bit. Okay. Right, I know this bit's blue, and I want to keep this bit blue. So that's going to be my horizon, which I definitely want that colour. So I know that's a definite. So that's why I'm going to put that in. Okay, so this is kind of my stable bit that I know is right and that I want to keep. Right, now I can go back to my penguin and see him a bit better now. I'll add some blue in. Right. I'm going to use my finger to blend some of this. It's good to go the way that the tooth is going as well, blending it the same way, just lightly. Okay, so a few more blues here. Okay, which I'm going to use. These are like a aqua. Quite a lot of blue down here. I think that's why I like this colour, because it's quite bright. And I like that colour, it's nice. You can see this. That's good. Right. Now, in the picture, he hasn't got his, oh, you can't see there. He's got a penguin next to him here, which we're not going to put that in. So where his flipper is on the back of the penguin. So he's going to be just on his own. So I'm just going to guess what I think's behind him. Underneath that, let's put that up there. Lovely. Okay, so I think there might be, I'm going to put a bit more grey, but I want darker blue. So I haven't got darker blue to put down here, so I'm going to add some black. Just give him that little wave. It just shows the depth of the water. There's a patch in the centre here that's quite light. So, make sure. Draw off. Right, so it's a bit cleaner. So, I'm trying to go more in this direction because it's flat. The water's flat. And it's smoother the further out in the distance. It's not so choppy out there, it's smoother. So I'm trying to show that it's smoother. There are some hints of some lighter colours, let's see. Didn't wipe it. So now I've got a black mark just where I didn't want. Typical. This is what not to do. Okay. Right, so now we can see the water more. I'm going to put some lines here. Right, so we have, I'm not going to do the background, I think, because I don't want to make the video too much longer. But the background, I would start with the blue here. I'd bring the wave around here. But that's just to show you where your background wave would go. Okay, so I'm just going to sharpen up the penguin there. Now if you've got pastel pencils, you can come in with your pencils if you want to do some more detail. And you can sharpen all your edges up with your pastel pencils. Which I don't think I have got. No, I haven't. I'm doing my bag downstairs. Never where I want them. Okay. So, because this background is dark, I'm just going to go around his body in blue, because that's what I wasn't going to do the background, was I? I wasn't going to do the background, but I just wanted to cut him in a bit so you can see the difference. Okay. Just want to put some definition behind him so you can see. I want the penguin to stand out. So I'm going to, I think, put some more white around here. That's it. A bit more under here. And this flipper. And some more blue. I use a bit grey because I feel like it needs a bit grey as well, even though he's completely black. The light, you can see the reflection. Under this bit's darker. Okay. So what's this? Right, so because this is not as orange as I want, I'm going to add some red. Okay, so I've got some red here. Okay, so I'll add some red to the top here. And some red to the orange. So you know, we know that red and yellow makes orange. So this orange has got more yellow in it because it's lighter. So to make it darker, we need to add more red. Okay, so you can layer. So this top bit here, I need a bit more red here. Okay, now we can use this lighter one for highlights. So you can go around the outside. It's a little bit darker there. Dark line in there, I think. So I'm going to blend this, make it a bit darker, and then blend that orange in. And blend some yellow, make sure I haven't got a dirty pastel. My hands are black, so it makes your pastels black. Okay, that's my white. So I'm just going to wipe my white. Okay. Use it on the side. Now I'm going to use white into grey. Bit of white around. I think this definition next to the black, you need to kind of add that in just to show between the dark and the light, and that little bit here under his flipper. So I think that's it. So apart from the background, I'm going to give it a little tap. Just going to move these off. Okay. I use board clips, which are quite good for my boards. Okay, so just going to tap. Okay, so this is our basic penguin. It's some curly paper now. Okay, so it just shows you how you can build your layers up. And I would go back over his skin, because I feel like it probably still needs to be a little bit darker. This side, I think never finished. I just want to keep going. So my original one, which took me longer than half an hour because I had to go over, but let's go with this one. Okay. And also that one that I've just showed you, the penguin picture that I did was a smaller one. I have a small picture of it somewhere. I think I've lost it. I did a painting of a penguin, a pastel painting. I've lost him now. What did I do with him? No, I haven't got it, sorry. I'll have it for the lesson. Me being disorganised again. So yeah, so I think that will be good. It's going to be good practice. I can't wait to see your penguins and see what you come up with. It is messy, as you can see. So like do it in a space where you've got, you know, ventilated space as well. Don't breathe all the dust in. But just have fun, and just know you can layer, and use your different side strokes, your blending, your layering, your dotting, your scumbling, all them different techniques together, and just look at the colours, and when you see like the reference picture here, which you should get, there's lots of different shades, so it's not just black. I mean, his head is really black here, but it's not the same colours as these. These are more bluey, so these are more the same colour as the water. So it's just looking and having an image and putting some colour down so you can see the colour. You know that it's black, but you also know you want to add some different colours to it as well. So you want to add some lights and some darks, and then it will build it up, you know. So like here, the little splatters of colour is where you could put these in once you've done your background. You know, and by his flipper, and this bit, once we finish this bit here, and we've got the water coming up here. Now you can add that afterwards, once you know where it's going to go. So that's it. So thank you. Sorry it's turned into a long video. It wasn't meant to be this long. It was just meant to be just showing you, but it's kind of turned into another long one, unfortunately. But just remember your colour theory, and remember red and yellow is orange. So to make it lighter and darker, you need, don't just use the basic colours that you get in a box, because you'll always have a colour that you haven't got that you need to make. So just look at what you can do. So the more red, the more orange. So let me just come to here to show you. I'm just going to do it on the side here. So yellow, orange, red. So if we add some yellow to this, you get more of an orange colour. So if you needed it to be more reddy, you just add more red. And you've got this orange, so we can lighten that down a little bit. So you have different shades. So that's the pure yellow, the orange and the red. So, you know, you can do the same thing with the blues, all your colours. So it's really important. And if you wanted to, just to show you another one. just want to show you that the yellow with the blue. So the yellow with the blue will give you green. So if you want it to be darker green, you add more blue. Lighter, add more yellow. So your colour theory works exactly the same, whether it's watercolours, whether it's pastels, paint, acrylics, anything, you know. So just remember, you can make all these colours, and you can have a bright coloured penguin if you want. You don't have to have a standard penguin, or you could have green water, you know. We could add some yellow. We could add some yellow into this water here. Okay. So I'm just going to add some yellow, just for fun. Just for fun. Just to show you. It's nice to do it and not ruin your own picture. And just ruin someone else's. Okay. And a bit of dark blue here. You know, so you can still cover up hints of it. You don't have to have a full block of yellow there. By the time you've added some more in, you might just see a hint of it. There just might be a little bit of it left. You might be like, you know, but it gives good colours. And also you could make him, he could have a bit of purple on his back. If the light was different, he could have purple. So yeah, I'm just going to add some blue and some red to him and turn him a different colour. It's all fun, it's all good. So have fabulous fun, and I will see you soon. Thank you.